If you love history, traditional arts and skills, and vintage living as much as I do, come join me here at the Homestead, where the conversations are always interesting and educational. I'm glad you're here. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Willow's Vintage Homestead, where we talk about all manner of old-timey topics. I'm your host, Willa Polson, and with me today is Hayley J. Croom, here to talk about all things soap and scent. And how are you doing over there? And where are you, Pennsylvania?
Yeah, South Central Pennsylvania. I'll tell you what, it is a soggy, soggy day. It is very atmospheric today.
Is it colorful? Are the
It's so
leaves turning?
colorful. Yeah, the leaves have been really
Nice.
good this year. So we've got that lovely kind of like gray sky, bright orange leaf action going on right now.
Yeah.
And
And your company is Paintbox Soapworks, and so
it
you've got a
is.
lead time, meaning that you're already rolling out of the fall line and
Oh
going
man,
into
yeah.
the Christmas or December or Yule or
Yes. Yeah.
winter.
I always tell people that there is a lot of seasonal dissonance
Yeah,
that goes on in this sort of work.
right, right.
So yeah, I've been making Christmas for about a month now and have been planning Christmas since July.
Oh man. See,
So
I was just in
yeah,
a store yesterday and they were playing Christmas music and I was so mad
oh, too
because
soon.
it's as of this recording, it's October 30th. So yeah, no.
Too soon. No, my
Yes.
rule is I will like throw some breadcrumbs on my social media and let people know that hey, working on the Christmas stuff, but I do not launch the Christmas stuff until November 1st.
Ah,
Hard stop. Like we
right.
don't have any bleed through.
As gift giving and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
exactly.
And
Yeah.
and I love to do things like soap for gifts because you use it up and it doesn't take up any space.
Well, I'll tell you that is that's really one of the core ethoses of the business is I love being able to make a creative product that is
Mhm.
also a useful and usable product so that yeah, people don't have things cluttering up their spaces.
Yeah, for sure.
And yeah.
And I really, really like your stuff in particular because they're so unusual scents, which I really like. I mean, you go
Oh,
to the store and everything's like, oh man, we we did a film shoot last year. We had to use vintage looking like Dove beauty
mhm.
bars. That
Oh, yeah.
stuff, I had to triple bag it and put it in a closet because it was so just like the world's biggest baby butt smell. It was like like powdery. Oh
Yep.
man, it was awful.
Yep.
So, but your
Yeah.
stuff is lovely, and you make two different kinds of soap. You do the glycerin and the hot process. So
That's
let's
right.
start let's start going into that science of that. I am fascinated. I know
Oh,
people out there
absolutely.
listening are have either people have tried their hand at soap, they've done melt and pour. They're like, I've always
Mhm.
wanted to do this, but it seems really hard. So give us a little primer, if you would.
Sure, sure, absolutely. So I'll give you a thumbnail sketch of kind of my story arc first, because I think it's kind of how a lot of people get started. In that I started with glycerin soap or melt and pour soap, which is effectively soap that's already been made into soap, and
Hmm,
it's usually done through a cold process method, but then it's
okay.
heat treated and treated with additional glycerin, sometimes propylene glycol, depending on the manufacturer. And that chemical process enables the soap to be, first off, it enables it to be clarified and made clear.
Okay. Yeah,
So you
because
can get your
glycerin
clear,
soap's very
see
clear.
through, yeah, like a Jolly Rancher kind of,
Yeah,
style
Jolly
of bar of soap.
Yeah.
um, but then that process also enables the soap to be able to be melted and re-poured in such a way that it melts easily, it melts quickly, it melts fluidly,
Okay.
and it reforms and resets clearly and uniformly.
Right. Seems easy for a beginner.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great entry point because it
Mhm.
enables you. There's no active lye. There's no chemistry. As long as you don't actually boil the soap while you're heating
Ooh.
it, it's a really easy user friendly way you can use. I mean, I started out using my microwave to melt it,
Ah,
and just
okay.
big old Pyrex jugs. That was it. And I love it because it's a very fast turnaround.
Yeah.
So I can go from having no soap in the morning to 200 bars of soap in the afternoon.
Oh, jeez.
If I really put my head down. So from kind of like a business and kind of,
Right, right. Yes.
productivity standpoint, like there's a lot going for it for sure. There are a lot of different formulas that you can get in melt and pour. A lot of people will try it and they'll say, oh, I got a box from Michael's or, the craft store. And I
Temu.
don't know, it just wasn't very good. And, much like, buying butter at the grocery store, there's good butter and there's not so great butter.
Gotcha.
So for me, the trick was finding a manufacturer who was not using any kind of extra surfactants, was not using propylene glycol.
Mm,
It's about as close to, air quotes, real soap as you can get and
okay.
still be a melt and pour glycerin product, which is why I really like it.
Nice. Very
Because,
pure.
yeah. Well, a lot of my customers come to me and they're concerned about, again, air quotes, chemicals and
Yep.
is it natural, that sort of thing. There's a lot of education about what constitutes a chemical. I have to be,
Right.
sometimes I put on my well actually hat.
Right. Because like the world is made of chemicals. I mean,
It is,
everything's a
and
chemical.
you
So,
can't make soap without a chemical technically.
right.
So, but really what people are asking is, does it have surfactants in it, artificial sudsing
Hmm.
chemicals? Does it have propylene glycol is just the kind of the manufactured version of glycerin, but a lot of
Right.
people
Okay.
have sensitivities to it, so they want to avoid that.
Right.
People
Right.
want to avoid, that kind of thing. But no, I've used this base. I've been in business for 15 years now, and I have used the same base the whole time. And
Has
it
it been
is
15 years? Gee.
15 years, Willow.
15 years because you know what, because I've you actually sort of slightly hived off of a different other thing called Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab, which we're
Yeah.
both fans of. That's a small batch perfume
Yep.
oil.
Yeah.
And well, I think did you start using their perfume oils in your soaps to start with? Or how did that all happen with scents?
So yeah, so I would not be here. I wouldn't have this business without Phoenix Alchemy Lab, and Beth and Ted's amazing work, and
Hmm.
also specifically the work of a couple of their customers who went to the trouble to put together a fan forum back in the
Yeah.
days when you could hang out on fan forums. Uh, if it weren't
Yeah.
for that community that we built as fans of their work, I would not have this business.
Yeah, funny how things like that,
Oh yeah.
one thing leads to another. Yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely. It makes it really hard when people come up to me and they're like, "Oh, how did you start your business? I want to start one." And I have to be like, "Well, okay, so you want to go back to like 2004."
right. Well, and that's why I like your scent so much is because I like their unusual stuff, which is
Mhm.
like, leather and honey and pomegranates and stuff that's not your typical, perfumey perfume. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. That work was
yeah,
really kind of my first realization that you could make things smell like experiences and
yeah.
atmospheres and emotions and places and
Hmm.
stuff
Hmm.
like that. Smelling like a donut is a thing that people want to do. That's fine. That's fine. I'm here for that. But everybody does that. So when I started doing this work, I didn't want to just be kind of an also ran. I
Yeah,
wanted to make
like,
sure that if I was going to go to the trouble to do this, there was going to be a good reason for people to buy from me as opposed to someone else.
yeah.
And that really came down to pulling from my undergraduate work in psychology, psychotherapy,
Oh,
um, did a lot of studying of faith and religions, mythology, that sort of thing. And so,
interesting.
yeah, so there's a lot of kind of like Jungian puppet strings going on
Oh,
behind
trippy.
the scenes
Okay.
when I work on
No,
sets.
I'm here for it. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah. It's but anyway, we got off topic here. So we're gonna
Eh,
pivot back. We're gonna talk more about chemistry and then we're gonna get
okay.
back to scent development because those are two juicy rabbit holes and they each deserve their own time. So
Love it.
I
Love it.
started off making the glycerin soap and the melt and pour. And that carried me for a good long time. And then one of my customers reached out to me and said, "Hey, you're smart. Why aren't you making your own soap from scratch?" And I clutched my pearls and said, "Oh my gosh, it's lye. I can't work with lye. That's dangerous. And
Aha.
she said, you used to cook for a living and set things on fire in the kitchen. This is nothing different. You
Nice.
know, a recurring theme in my life is sometimes that there are people outside of yourself who can see you better than you see yourself.
Mm.
And so I've been very lucky to have had several people pop up in my life who've kind of, very lovingly taken me by the ears and turned my head and said, listen, you can do this. Give it
Nice.
a shot. The typical kind of handmade soap that you would see in a farmer's market, a Whole Foods, on Etsy, 9 times out of 10, that is going to be a cold process soap. It is it's your fats and oils of choice. It is water, and it is active lye or sodium hydroxide. And the
Okay.
combination of those three things put together at room temperature or near enough makes kind of a puddingy kind of batter. It's very
Hmm.
fluid, it's very pourable, easily scentable, easily colorable. You can get all kinds of neat swirls and
Yeah.
effects and stuff like that. And it yields, if it's a good recipe, it yields a nice, hard, almost porcelain like bar. And that's what most people know as handmade soap. It's a
Yeah.
great, yeah, it's a great process. It takes, from the day you make it, anywhere between 3 to 6 weeks to cure properly.
Right.
So you need for the sodium hydroxide and the water combination to finish its chemical reaction with the
Mm.
fatty acids in the oils that you've used. That
Okay.
combines, that turns it into basically a type of salt, which
Huh.
is what soap is. Soap is salt. Did you know?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So if you look at like ingredient lists, sometimes it'll say, olive oil, coconut oil, that sort of things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll say sodium olivate, sodium
Okay.
cocoate. Those are the salts created by
Huh.
exposing those particular oils to sodium hydroxide.
Well,
Science. Yeah.
yeah. Who knew this
Yeah.
was going to be a STEM lecture? Hey.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Awesome.
So yeah, cold process is great. It's you can do large batches very easily. It's great. It has its drawbacks in that, particularly when you start adding fragrance and colorant, sometimes what will happen, you'll get what we call seizing or ricing. So you'll have this nice fluid, like puddingy batter, and then
Yep.
you go to stir in your essential oil or your fragrance oil. And all of a sudden, interesting things start happening. Either the whole thing separates into an oily mess,
Yee.
or you get soap on a stick. It seizes, it instantly hardens, and
Huh.
good luck getting it out of the pot. It'll
Oh no.
rice sometimes and give you like little hard bits. Yeah, it's kind of a thing. Now, accomplished soap makers who have been doing this for a while and reputable suppliers will know which fragrance compounds are more likely to do this.
Okay.
So you can kind of go into it knowing if it's something really floral, if it's something really spicy, chances are it's going to be a little fussy. So
Uh,
you can adjust the amount of water in your recipe, you can change the kinds of fats in your recipe to kind of
oh.
accommodate for those different effects that you can get.
Oh wow. Okay. That's really
Yeah.
complicated. So
It's
and
very complicated, yeah, and the other thing to remember is you're exposing your fragrance or your essential oil to the lye while the lye is still an active thing. It's still
right, right.
suppliable. So you run into the risk of scent morphing, scent
Mhm.
dying completely. Sometimes
Mm.
I put half a pound of oil in this thing and the lye ate everything and it doesn't smell like anything.
Ah.
Um, yeah, so you can have things like that. So that's where the third technique comes in. And this is what I do. This is hot process. So hot process is the exact same ingredients as cold process soap. You've got your
Mhm.
fats, you've got your water, you've got your oils. The difference is you're blending everything into this puddingy consistency, but you're doing it at a much higher temperature
Okay.
because when we add heat to a chemical reaction, it speeds up the chemical reaction.
Okay.
So instead of saponification, which is the process of turning fats and water into soap, instead of that taking the 3 to 6 weeks cure time that you would have to wait for cold process, on a good day, I can force it in 20 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah.
See, now I'm getting flashbacks of all my failed, fudge attempts where it gets
Oh
hard
yeah,
really fast.
yeah. I used to be in the food industry, and I'll tell you, there's so much overlap between food production, particularly like baking and candy making,
Yeah.
and soap making. Absolutely. So what I'll do now is I'll heat up my oils on the stove, get them
Mm.
nice and hot,
Wow.
make my lye solution of my sodium hydroxide in my water, which produces an exothermic reaction. So it heats up as well.
Oh, gee.
So I've got hot lye solution going into hot oils. You got to know what you're doing because it does like to volcano. It
I
likes
was
to
gonna
surge up.
say, now that
Yeah,
does sound dangerous.
yeah, it can be, but much like candy making, if you understand kind of the process and you know what to expect, you can do dangerous things safely, if that makes
That sounds
sense.
like an oxymoron, but, I'll sure.
I mean, obviously, I'm wearing my personal protective gear. I've got my apron, I've got my gloves, I've got my mask, I've got my goggles.
Oh, good, okay.
Yes, yes, I'm very close to the sink, fresh running water. Anything comes over,
Right.
yeah, we know how to deal with it.
Right, right.
Um,
Because 'cause you've got a whole setup there. You're not doing it just in your kitchen or something.
no, no, I used to. I
Right,
used
right.
to. And did I boil soap over onto my countertop more than once? Yes, yes, friends, I did. But we learn from our mistakes.
Yep, yep.
So, but no, now I have a dedicated workshop down in the basement of our house, and yes, it's a lovely setup.
Oh, good.
But once the soap batter volcanoes, I stir that down, and within 5 or 10 minutes, that chemical reaction has finished. So I have made soap. It's a completely different texture from cold process. So the cold process is that nice fluid pudding. Hot
Uh-huh.
process is, we like to describe it as greasy mashed potatoes. Like if you took mashed potatoes and you just stirred in a nice big jar of Vaseline, it's kind of
Yeah. Well, I was
yeah,
gonna
it's
say butter, but okay.
no, no, it's very bad. Yeah, it's that slightly clear, kind of smeary kind of texture.
Huh.
So that means that I can't do things like really intricate, feathery swirls
Right.
and like detailed work. It's a much more kind of rustic, streaky, blobby kind of texture. Personally, I love it. I think it lathers better. I think
Right.
but I
Well,
am I am biased. It is my
yeah,
favorite child.
it's your favorite child. No,
It
don't tell the
is.
other soap.
But what it means though is at that point, once it's gone through saponification, then I can add my fragrance. So my fragrance is being
Oh,
added
okay.
once the lye has been neutralized. So the fragrance that is going in the pot is the fragrance that you are getting in the final soap. There is very little
Okay.
distortion, very little morphing. I don't have to worry about ricing, about seizing, about, weird discoloration. It solves so many problems. And for someone like me who, at the end of the day, like my heart is split between the chemistry side of soap making and the artistry side of scent making.
Ah, I
And
was just gonna say,
so
let's get into scent more. Yeah.
yeah, so I need to, if I'm going to go to all the trouble to do this, I want to make sure that the product that I am making is really showcasing the scents in the best way. Yeah. So that's why I love hot process soap. Merry Christmas.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. So
Absolutely.
now I know you're not technically a trained, oh, what was the name of that? Perfumer, or what is it?
No, I am not. No, and I'm very quick to make sure people understand that I
Right,
am
and that's fine. I
100%
mean,
self-taught. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I mean, I'm not either, but actually you and I worked on a collaboration,
We
that
did.
was, for my show, The Manos Chronicles, and we did some custom soaps that, I'm very happy with how they turned out. And I kind of intuitively was like, "What if we have it kinda be like this?"
Mhm.
And then you'd say, "Well, that's a lot of ingredients." So, well,
Which isn't
but
always
then
a bad thing, but let's
right.
yes.
It
Yeah.
got a little crazy. So, we tried one that was more of a foodie sort of one, and it was exactly like Captain Crunch or something. It was very cereal-like, and I'm
Yes,
like,
it
"No, no."
was.
as much as my husband enjoys bathing with Captain Crunch scented soap, that's not what I was going for. So
Right?
ended up with like, apple blossoms or something else. But so yeah, I just love playing with it. And again, that's why I love Black Phoenix Alchemy Lab is the different, so many they have like thousands of different perfumes and how do
Yeah.
they come up with this? I don't know, but it's so fun and experimental and here I'm going off into the weeds myself now. So how do you come up with your combinations? Is it a similar
Um, it,
process? Just
it's a combination of it. There's lots of different ways that I can kind of end up at the same place. Sometimes it's something really, really simple, like, it's fall. People like pumpkin. We're gonna make something pumpkin.
it's right.
Right. Because, I mean, come on. But my challenge is always, how can I do pumpkin in a way that is unexpected? How can I change the way that people think about pumpkin as a particular note by combining it with lots of different things that you
Right.
wouldn't normally combine them with? Sometimes I do kind of tip my hat to, kind of the more basic end of things because, at the end of the day, I want to make people happy. I want people to enjoy my
Yeah.
products and,
Well, if you get too weird, you're not gonna sell anything. So
right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. I have a vested interest in not working for anybody else ever again. So we have to make this, we
right.
got to make this work. But yeah, so sometimes it's, what can I do with, this particular note? Sometimes I'll just kind of go way off into the weeds and think about, like, all right, what would this color smell like?
Ah,
Or what does this emotion smell like? Sometimes it's pulling from a memory that I have, memory of my childhood, memory of traveling, memory of something that happened with a pet or a family member or something like that.
right.
And sometimes it's a little, like I said, it's a little bit more Jungian. It's digging into kind of the collective memory. And I think about this a lot. Generally speaking, most of my clientele is in the United States, just because shipping overseas at this point is so expensive.
Yeah.
That has really that has withered on the vine, unfortunately. So I'm pitching to an audience that really has this kind of shared communal societal experience. Obviously, there are different layers, there are different pockets, but I think about what smell means to me
Mm.
and how that might also mean something to you. So a really good example for me is Lily of the Valley.
Okay.
That is a very, very specific memory for me.
Right.
That was my great grandmother's scent. Now, you don't know my great grandmother. You didn't
Right.
have that experience, but there is a chance that you also had someone in your family from that era who may have also doused themselves in the
That's
Valley perfume.
right. Well, I was gonna say it's a very old-fashioned scent. So yeah, from
It
that
is
era.
very, yeah, yeah. So I think about, like, okay, who may also have a shared experience with this particular scent.
Mhm.
And then I think about how can I use that scent as kind of an emotional shortcut.
Right.
So
Right.
I want to evoke something nostalgic. I want to
Mhm.
invoke something kind of tender and really kind of like pull on those kind of like familial heartstrings kind of thing.
Right.
I might add Lily of the Valley into a blend as kind of that shorthand to get
Mhm.
us emotionally where I want you to be when you were taking a shower with my bar soap.
Right. Well, and speaking of which, one of my very favorites of yours is Halcyon, which
Oh, yay.
I think it only comes out in the summer. Is that right?
It started off as a spring limited edition, and
Oh,
then I
spring.
discontinued it for a while. And
Yes.
then I brought it in as a general catalog, and then I pulled it
Yay.
for a while. Really, I
No.
like to kind of cycle things in and out, mostly because I have a short attention span and I get bored very easily. So,
All right, that's fine.
got to keep it fresh, got to keep it
Yeah, yeah.
meaningful. But also, I like to give people the opportunity to miss things. Um,
Well, you
you know,
jerk. It's
I know.
it's
I'm
ah,
sorry. So
Well, so but halcyon is what? Pear, honeysuckle, and what else
yeah,
is in there? I can't quite remember. It's a
it's oak.
golden.
It's yeah, it's oak and teak wood. So it's like
Mm,
an old varnished wood smell.
hmm.
And then yeah, pear and honeysuckle.
Yeah, it's just you just want to eat it. It's just this glorious golden bar that's just it's a glycerin bar. And I'm wondering also, while I'm thinking of it, how do you make the decision whether something's going to be glycerin or something's going to be hot process?
It usually comes down to two factors. One, does it have a lot of vanilla in it?
Mm,
Because the heavy vanilla ones will tend to discolor in hot process.
okay.
So it kind of oxidizes. So if you've ever seen a bar of my rice pudding hot process, it's like super dark brown. It's like ground cinnamon colored. When I
Okay.
first make that, it's like parchment white. But because
Right.
of all the vanilla notes in the fragrance oil, those oxidize over time and it turns the bar soap brown, which sometimes with like say rice pudding, that's fine. It fits the vibe
Yeah.
that we're going for. But something like halcyon, which also does have a lot of vanilla in it, if I did that in hot process, that might not be the visual that I'm looking
Right.
for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you want that beautiful golden,
Right.
like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
amber or something. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or like I do one that's called milky. It's black tea and lychee and hot sugared milk.
Oh wow.
If I did that in hot process, it would be muddy brown. And that would
Yeah.
really not fit the vibe that we're going for. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do that one in glycerin soap so that I can get a nice milky white bar that
Okay.
goes
So
along
that's
with.
why. All right.
Yes, exactly. Some of it is also very practical. It takes me about 3 to 4 weeks from making hot process for it to be ready. Technically, it's ready. Technically, it's soap, but I like to let my hot process cure for a couple of weeks so that it
Hmm.
loses some water weight and it
Hmm.
creates a longer lasting bar.
Oh,
It's a little
is
bit
that why some
harder.
bars?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that why some bars will shrink?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah, sometimes it's because they haven't let it cure, haven't let it lose the water weight. Sometimes it has to do with the kind of oils that they're
Uh,
using. If it's like my hot process is very heavy in olive oil, which I love as a soap,
mhm.
but when olive oil soap is young, it can be a little unpleasant to use. A
Oh, okay.
little snotty, it's a little slimy,
Ugh.
um, and it will also dissolve very quickly.
Yeah, believe it or not, we're almost out of time. I'm sorry, but
Oh
I know,
man.
right? It goes by so quick. So do you have any important parting thoughts that you need my audience to know about soap making and or scent?
Just please support your local soap makers. It's okay if you don't like the soap that you try, go and try somebody else's. Everybody is doing a slightly different formula and has a slightly different method. Don't be afraid to talk to your soap makers about how they do what they do. Most of us are big fat nerds, and we would love to talk your ear off about what we do and why we do it.
Nice. And there's so many choices nowadays too.
Yep,
It's a popular
absolutely.
thing. All
Yeah.
right. Well, thank you so much for joining me, Haley. I
Oh,
really
thank you so
appreciate
much,
it.
Willow. This is such a treat. I really appreciate you.
Well, thanks. And show my listeners there's lots of other great shows in my back catalog and more shows coming up. Hope you'll join us next time. Thanks. Bye.